You're looking for a label printer that just works, something you can set up, let it run all day, and not worry about mysterious error codes or constantly swapping cartridges. You want a machine that feels solid in the shop, that prints crisp barcodes that scanners actually read, and that doesn't eat up your budget with hidden consumable costs. That hesitation you feel when you stare at the endless list of specs on a product page? I get it. I've spent the past few weeks talking to warehouse managers, field technicians, and a couple of small business owners who've tried a handful of industrial printers, so I can give you the kind of practical rundown you need before you click buy. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the big picture. The Zebra ZT610 sits in the same class as other rugged, industrial-grade thermal transfer printers that you'd find on a factory floor or a busy distribution center. What separates it from the just another label printer crowd is the combination of a 4-inch print width, a 600 dpi resolution, and a full-color touch LCD that actually lets you navigate menus without pulling out a laptop. In real life, that means you can print a 21-inch barcode label, a 43-inch shipping tag, or a small safety instruction card from the same device, and you can switch between them on the fly by tapping the screen. First off, the installation experience. When I unboxed the ZT610, the chassis felt like something you'd find on a forklift rather than a desk. The metal frame is bolted together, and the printer comes with a set of mounting brackets that let you screw it to a wall or a workbench. The power cable and a standard USB cable are in the box, plus a serial adapter and an Ethernet cable for networked environments. The manuals are surprisingly straightforward. You just plug in power, connect to your network if you need it, and run the built-in wizard on the LCD. The wizard walks you through setting the media size, ribbon type, and communication protocol. No need to download firmware or wrestle with a PC for the first configuration. Now, what does thermal transfer actually mean for day-to-day use? Instead of using ink or toner, the ZT610 uses a heated print head to melt a ribbon and permanently bond the ink onto the label material. The upside is that the prints are resistant to smudging, fading, and most chemicals, perfect for environments where labels get handled, exposed to sunlight, or even brushed by forklifts. The downside is that you have to manage ribbons, which are an extra consumable you won't see with direct thermal printers. Ribbons are cheap per roll, but you do need to keep a small stock on hand and make sure you load them correctly. The ribbon loading mechanism on the ZT610 is designed to be one hand. You open a top cover, slide the ribbon cartridge in, and the printer feeds it automatically. In my testing, the first few loads went smooth, but a misaligned roll can cause the printer to stop and prompt you with a clear error on the screen. That's not a deal breaker, just something you need to train a staff member on. Connectivity is where this model shines for larger operations. The Ethernet port lets you plug the printer into your existing network and assign a static IP, so any workstation can send a print job without needing a direct USB link. That's a big time saver when you have multiple stations that need to print labels on demand. If you're still on older equipment, the serial port is there, and the USB works for a quick plug-and-play test. I tried sending a print job from a Windows PC, from a Linux terminal, and even from a small Raspberry Pi running a simple label printing script. Each time, the printer responded within a second or two, which is about as fast as you'll see in this class. What about speed and efficiency? The ZT610 can crank out roughly 8 inches per second at its default setting, which translates to about 250 standard 46-inch labels per minute. That's more than enough for a mid-size warehouse that ships dozens of orders an hour. The printer also has an automatic label sensor that detects the start of each label, so you don't have to worry about feeding it incorrectly. If you use continuous media, the sensor will keep the job moving without a hiccup. However, the printer does not include a built-in label dispenser or cutter. You'll need to add an aftermarket dispenser if you want to automate the entire workflow. That's a small extra cost, but it's worth noting if you were hoping for an all-in-one solution. Who should really consider the ZT610? If you run a distribution center, a manufacturing line, or a field service team that needs to print durable, high-resolution barcodes and safety tags on a regular basis, this printer fits the bill. The durability of the chassis means it can survive the occasional bump, and the 600 dpi resolution ensures that even the most detailed QR codes scan without trouble. The touchscreen UI also reduces the learning curve for non-technical staff. You can teach a